Welcome to Screenplayer Video 5 for Frost, the show where I find a movie and then give you 5 reasons to watch that movie and I break them the fuck down. Today, we're doing... the Cocaine Bear. We're doing Cocaine Bear. Number 1, have you ever watched Jaws and went, what if this thing had legs and a drug problem? If you have, this movie's for you. Now, I don't want you to think that the cocaine doesn't actually have a real part of this story. It absolutely does, as it is the root of everything. But the cocaine and this bear has this weird symbiotic relationship. You know how like in a slasher movie, here like Jason or like Myers will just pop up out of nowhere and we just kind of assume that at some point he got from that point to that point and we don't really think about it? I can promise you, it is much more terrifying when it's a bear with fucking Roadrunner legs. This thing is fucking horrifying because in between those, instead of him just going and he's there, you see him and then next thing you know, he's and that is horrific. This honestly should start an entire franchise of cocaine animals. Like, could you imagine Cocaine Hippo? Like, you would need the entire MCU to stop that motherfucker. Number 2, it's inspired by a true story, which in Hollywood just means I read this once, so let's lie about it. So some brief things for you to actually know about the real Cocaine Bear. 1, yes, cocaine fell from the sky and a bear ate it, but the bear ate so much it died there. They just found the carcass of the bear there. But it doesn't really stop at that point. The lore of the Cocaine Bear gets incredibly interesting at the fact that at some point they decided to taxidermy it afterwards, and then at some point Waylon Jennings, the country artist, decided to buy the Cocaine Bear, which of course. And then at some point, he ends up in a mall in Lexington, Kentucky. And that's not where it gets weird. Where it gets really weird is that people actually come to see the Cocaine Bear and leave offerings for it. Like they actually leave things for the Cocaine Bear that is wearing a crown on its fucking head. Lord Bear of the Cocaine, I leave you today this half-smoked Seneca. Please, for the love of you, don't let Jenny be pregnant again. Number 3, it's a movie based in the 80s, so naturally you're gonna get hit with a banger playlist. You've got Jefferson Airplane, Jeffrey Osborne, Patti Smith. Literally at one point we watch a bear rip through people while No More Words by Berlin plays softly in the background. That's pretty fun. Number 4, if you have ever watched Stranger Things and went, I really want to see more people in 80s clothes riding bicycles, then this movie is for you. I don't know what it is with filmmakers in the 80s and thinking like fucking everybody rode a bike, but even the mom goes in and out of scenes in this motherfucking movie on a Huffy. There was other forms of transportation in the 80s, I assure you filmmakers, but for some reason they go, you know what we need? It's the 80s. We need a Walkman and a Huffy. Like nothing says the 80s like a Walkman and a Huffy. Another thing that was very Stranger Things-esque as well is that it constantly kept having children act very teenager-esque, which was kind of troublesome in some points. Like they're making decisions that kids their age shouldn't. Like at one point, not trying to give spoilers, but at one point, there's a drug situation because it's fucking called Cocaine Bear, and there are moments with the children in the cocaine, and you're like, I really think that children should not watch this. It might be rated R, but if you are a parent, for the love of goth, do not have your children watch this movie because they might be subject to, rationalize some very poor decisions that children in this movie make. So, that's just something to think about. And number 5, all jokes aside, this movie was hilarious when it was supposed to be, and it was scary when it needed to be. But truly, it just had trouble being both sometimes. It's a beautifully shot comedic horror film that is as equally funny as it is horrific. The only problem is that it doesn't really seem to know how to go between the two seamlessly. It seems to stutter almost, where at times you find yourself not knowing when to take the movie lightly or when to take the movie seriously. And because of that, some scenes that I feel like would have been naturally dramatic or maybe naturally funnier, almost you don't really know how to take them because they didn't seem to transition you through that very well. And it's like I said, it almost kind of seems to stutter. Isaiah Whitlock Jr., the man who played the character of Bob, carried this movie as far as charm is concerned. There were so many moments that I personally loved what he was doing, and I was like tied to him throughout the picture. And it kind of felt like the cast was playing catch up to him as far as that charm was concerned. Because even though Whitlock's character was like significantly less in screen time than most, I felt that his presence was felt way more than any other character in the movie. But that's not taken away from Ray Liotta, which unfortunately is his last picture. I think that he did a fantastic job in bringing in the drama and the sinisterness when it needed to, because it is a comedic horror film. Even though the genre says thriller, I disagree. This truly was a horror film. I feel like there's a lot of times that his performance was giving it that moment of sinister drama that, let's say, this type of picture needs, and where it seemed to stutter in that tone, I feel like maybe they could have used Ray Liotta a little more. So whether the movie was making people laugh or making people scream, I can honestly say that Cocaine Bear kept the audience engaged, and that is the most important part about going to the movies. So I give this personally a 7 out of 10, and I could not recommend it more. And that was my Screenplayer video, 5 for Frost. Thank you so much for hanging out. This has been my review. I really enjoyed the movie, and I know a lot of you are debating, like, is it one of those movies that's so bad it's good? But I think that if you're going into it just trying to have a good time, as myself and everybody else who in the theater for the press release was, we all seem to laugh and have a really fun time watching it. And a lot of people sat through the credits because there are fun credit scenes as well. So overall, it's a very, very fantastic movie. Do not fucking take kids. Seriously, do not take kids, but it is a wonderful, wonderful fun time, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. If you want to keep up with me, you can keep up with me everywhere at Screenplayer Video on all social media. And thank you guys so much for checking this out, and I will talk to you later. Deuces!